Fibonacci and the market. So Fibonacci, essentially, Leonardo Fibonacci was an Italian mathematician way long time back, around I think 1530s. I think so. I might be wrong with the date, but he did come up with a very intriguing number series. And the number series looks like this. The number series looks like this. 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and it keeps on going on till infinity. The beauty of this number series is the fact that any number is essentially in the series is essentially a sum of the previous two numbers. So let's say if I take 5, 8, 13, 13 is a summation of 5 and 8. If you take, let's say, 34, 55 and 89, 89 is derived by adding 34 and 55. So like that, if you add 144 and 233, you get 377. Then with 377, you can add 233, and like that, you can go on till infinity, adding two numbers to get the next number. This was the Fibonacci number series. However, this number series is actually used, and various percentages are derived from it, which are extremely useful in the financial markets while looking into charts. So I'll request everyone to pay a little more attention here. Okay, from this number series, so okay, fine, I have this number series which hundreds and hundreds of years back someone had derived. How is it useful in 2015 stock market, right? How is it useful both in terms of time and price is in terms of few ratios. Few ratios are derived from that number series. So what are these ratios? So let's say I take any number, preferably after 3 and 5, and divide by the next highest number. So let's say put few numbers Fibonacci series here. Let's say 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 89. All right. So what it says is you take any number, let's say 21, and you divide by the next higher number, that is 21 divided by 34. Let's say I do 21, I divide it by 34, I get 0.61. Let's say I take 34 divided by 55, I get 0.61. Let's say I take 55 and I divide by 89, I again get the same 0.61. So if I do, let's say, 144 divided by 233, I also get 0.61. So the point is, if I take any number in the number series, preferably after 5 and 3, and if I divided that number by the next higher number, not highest, it should be higher number, it approximates to 0.618. There is an aesthetic reason why I've put the font color as little goldenish. I'll come to that point. Now, so I get a ratio. So our idea is from this number series, we are going to derive few ratios, and these ratios are going to be useful in our charts. Now we are in the process of deriving these ratios. First ratio we derived, we took any number and we divided that number with the next higher one, and we saw that for each and every number till infinity we keep on getting 0.618. So this is one ratio, number one. Step two, let's skip a space, a place. Earlier we were doing 21 by 34, 34 by 55, right? Let's give one gap, and let's say we do 21 by 55, and let's skip 34 in between. Let's see what happens. Let's say I divide by 55, I get 0.38. If I do 34, after that 34 comes 55, I'm going to skip 55, I'm going to divide it by 89, it comes 0.38. So now you got a point that if I skip one space, then I get another ratio which is constant throughout infinity is 0.382. That's nice. Okay, I'm getting some gains. Now what if I skip 2 places? If I skip 2 places, then I get 0.236. Let's check this out. Let's say we take 13. We don't divide by 21. We don't divide it by 34, but we divide by 55. So let's say I do 13 divided by 55. I get 0.23. Let's say 21. I divide by 89. I get 0.23. So now you know how the sequence is getting ready. If I divide one number by the next, it's a constant ratio throughout infinity. If I divide one number by the next to next, I get a constant ratio throughout infinity. If I take one number and I skip 2 places and divide by the next one, I get 0.236, which is constant throughout infinity. So, okay, so this number series seems to have some merit. We've got some ratios, and if you notice, these ratios are all less than 1. These ratios are all less than 1. 0.618, the reason I've made it the font color goldenish is a part of what we call golden mean. There's another part of it. One part is 0.618, and if we take a square root of 0.618, we get 0.786. This is a very important number. When we do little later Fibonacci retracements, we'll see how 0.786 is a very important Fibonacci retracement number. Bottom line, we've got some ratios 0.618, 0.382, 0.236, and so amongst these three, this guy is the most important. It's called the golden mean. And if I take the square root of the golden mean, I get another number which is 0.786, which is also less than 1. So I have 4 ratios which is less than 1. This gives me the retracement levels or the levels of contraction when the market is contracting. Retracement levels. Let's look into the other side of the entire analysis. If I do it the other way around, let's say if I take a number and I divide by the previous number. Earlier, when we were finding out these ratios, what we were doing is we were taking a number and we were moving to the right in the number series. 13 by 21, 21 by 34. So the movement was left to right. What if we do the other way around? What if we move now from right to left? Let's say we take 34 and we divide that by 21. What do I get? 1.61. What if I take 55 and I divide it by the previous one, 34? What do I get? I get the same 1.61. Let's do one more. 89 divided by 55, 1.61. So this number series actually has turning out to have some pretty good merit in it. Earlier when we saw, you take a number, we divide that by the next, it was 0.618. But now we took a number and we divide by the previous. Not only is it, the fact is it's one constant throughout. It's not that the ratios are changing. The ratios are approximating to the same 1.618. By now you would have read my mind, and I have put 1.618 in gold also. So 0.618 and 1.618 makes the golden mean, which is the most important ratios under Fibonacci. 0.618 and 1.618. Now, on our left hand side, we took one after the other, and when we gave some space, we can do the same here. Let's give some space. What happens? It comes 2.618. So let's say we start with 21. We don't divide by 13. We divide by 8. So let's say 21 and I divide it by 8. I get 2.62. I take 34 and I divide it by 13. I get 2.61. As and when you move towards a higher number, the ratio will approximate towards 2.618. What if I give another space? Now you know what it will happen. If you divide by 3 places, then you get 4.236. Let's say 34. If I divide by 21, I get 1.618. If I divide by 13, I get 2.618. But if I divide by 8, then I get 4.2. So as on when I move to one's way right, I get constant ratios. Earlier, we took the square root of the most important number, we got another number. If we take the square root of the next most important number, we obviously will get another number. So if I take the square root of 1.618, I get 1.272. You would have noticed on the ratios that we have derived on our right hand side are all greater than 1. The numbers, the ratios we have derived on our left hand side are all less than 1. These numbers derived, the ratios on my right hand side are all greater than 1. So as we moved to the left, we were contracting in the number series. As we moved to the right, we are expanding. These are levels of Fibonacci extensions or projections, and they lead to expansion in the price. If I have to break down these little complicated English words in simple market language, then the retracement levels, which is less than 1, are used to find support or resistance when you already have a previous move. The expansion are these ratios which are used to calculate and find out price targets, both on the upside as well if the market is falling. Right? So let's get into action and let's show you first the most basic use of Fibonacci is Fibonacci retracement. Now, when we talk about Fibonacci retracement, let's quickly, first and foremost, put down the ratios. So what all ratios did we earn? We earned 0.236. Did we earn that? No. We earned, it's there, 0.236, yeah. 0.382, 0.618 and 0.786. I have kept little space in between where it's not part of Fibonacci per se, but we will use it. It's a part of Gann theory also, and it is generally noticed that 50% market, it works fairly well. So these are our Fibonacci retracement levels. How do we put them in percentages? We say 23.6%, 38.2%, the halfway mark, that is 50%, 61.8%, and finally 78.6%. Now, percentage of what? So retracement is used in scenarios like when there has already been a up move or a down move. Let's say market में already एक up move हो चुका है. You already have a move, a rally, and now the market is in a correction mode. So this correction that is happening right now is retracing the previous move. Let's say this previous move started at 100 rupees and it topped out at 200 rupees. Let's say, and those who say it has started to react or correct. So this fall is a correction of the earlier rally. So this fall we say is retracing the previous rally. So if I say this fall has retraced 100% of the previous rally, where will the price go back to? 100, correct. So this is 100%. If this is 100%, then where will be 50%? 50% will be right in the middle somewhere here. At 50%, what will be the price? 150. So if the correction brings the prices down to 150, we say that the markets have retraced 50% of the previous rally. If 50% is here and 100% is down there, then by now you would have guessed that little lower would be my 61.8% and further lower would be 78.6%. Obviously this is 100% and this is 0%. So between 0 and 50% I'll have 23.6 and 38.2%. So what do I have? I had an earlier rally from the market and currently the market is coming down. It is retracing or recouping or correcting the previous rally. The previous rally was from the level of 100 to 200. Now what the Fibonacci says is you draw levels at these percentages: 23.6, 38, 50, 61.8 and 78.6, and keep a watch in the fall. During the fall, it is possible that the market can find support in any of these levels. So I have 5 levels and the market is coming off. So the understanding aisa hai that when the market is coming down and if it comes to a Fibonacci level, it can find some support. It may find some support. It may not. If one level is broken, let's say when it's coming down, it is broken below 23.6, then it is expected that it will go towards 38.2. If 38.2 is broken, then it is expected it will come down to 50 and then 61.8, finally 78.6, and then if it comes down to 100 means the earlier rally is all gone. So in this case, it's a falling market. So what are these levels? What are we trying to calculate? Markets what? Support. Perfect. Fibonacci retracement, attempting to calculate support of the market, gives 5 possible levels. One may hold, 2 may hold, none may hold. No one knows. But these are possible levels to watch out for in terms of percentages. If this is for support, how will it look for resistance? The resistance will come after a downtrend. If the market is already in a downtrend, upside down, let's say it started at 200 and it fell down to 100 and now it is rallying up. So this rally is now retracing the previous fall and it can face some resistance, correct? So what can a technical chartist do? All that he can do is, so from 100 it is moving up. So if it goes back to 200, that is from where it started, then it will retrace the entire 100%. This is my 0% upside down. So this is my 50%. This is my 38.2. This is my 23.6. A little higher would be 61.8 and 78.6. So when the market now tries to go up, what a technical chartist will keep his eyes open is, does it halt in any of these levels? Does it stop? Because these may act as a source of resistance or source of supply to the market. So when the market is going up, you obviously will look for kahan tak ja sakta hai, where can it, till what level can it go? So it's likely to give you resistance. Now let me show you, if this concept is clear about retracement. Let me.
This also we can find support also, because after 38.2, if it goes back.
After
38.2,
if it falls further,
then 23.2 can be support also.
It can be support, but there are better ways to find out the support. So let me go to our chart. This is Nifty. This is the Nifty daily chart. I'll hide volume so that we only focus on price. So I can clearly see that this was the previous low, this was a high, clean, and the market is now correcting. So we will be looking for support. People may ask, और कहाँ तक जा सकता है? The market has fallen for 5 consecutive days. So market का support कहाँ है? So let's say if we do a Fibonacci check, we will draw Fibonacci retracement. So if I hit the R key, R for retracement, this box will pop up. I type in 23.6, 38.2, 50%, 61.8 and 78.6. Right? I come to the lowest point and drag it up to the highest point. Now you see 23.6 was the percentage and the level is 8148. 38.2 is the percentage and the level is 8031. 50% is 7937. तो अगर 7937 में आता है मार्केट्स, जो प्रीवियस रैली था उसका हाफ खत्म, 50% is over. Then the 61.8, then the 78.6, then finally the last one will be 100%. So these are the markets possible support, not supports, possible support. Now you would have noticed 23.6 is over, right? It's completely closed below 23.6. So 23.6 failed to give any support. So what we can do is we can remove 23.6. Let's say we remove 23.6 and redraw it. And these are the levels yet to be breached. जो breach हो चुका है मैं उसको हटा देता हूँ. These are my levels yet to be breached. So these are the supports. These are the possible supports. Now the obvious doubt, the obvious difficulty, the obvious inconvenience with Fibonacci tools is I've drawn 5 levels, and I expect one of the 5 levels or some of the 5 levels or none of the 5 levels to work. How does it benefit me as a trader? I need to be benefited. Then why will I clutter my chart if it does not benefit me? तो इससे मुझे मिलता क्या है? मुझे जस्ट बोला जा रहा है कि ये 4 लेवल में सपोर्ट हो सकता है. That out of these 4 levels, one or few can be a support. So how can I use this, right? The way you can use it is in a way that let's say the market comes down to the 50% mark, 7937, and at the 7937 it has made a positive candlestick pattern, a reversal. It makes a hammer here or an engulfing. An engulfing can be made anywhere, but if it makes at a possible support, the probability of the engulfing goes higher. Let's say it comes down to 7843, and when it comes down to 7843, it has made a positive divergence with the relative strength index. तो मतलब positive divergence का मतलब that the market can go up, and from where it is telling me it can go up is actually a Fibonacci support. So essentially we have another tool which is confirming the other. On a standalone basis you should not trade them. Means few people do this, I know, कि 8031 आया मैं खरीद लेता हूँ और 8030 का stop loss. Means they think that these are going to act as support. They are not going to work like. What we do is we read the charts and we look for buy opportunities, and if that particular buy opportunity happens to come close or at a Fibonacci level, then that buy opportunities confidence level goes up. That's one way to look at it. There's another way where we can upgrade ourselves in terms of calculating Fibonacci or finding out Fibonacci. That is called Fibonacci retracement clusters. Okay, clusters is one confirming the other or one on top of the other. Means we have drawn a retracement from this low to this high, but then if you have noticed is entire move mein this was also a move, this was a rise, this was a fall, this was the next rise, right? So in this zigzag move up and down, ये भी तो एक move है from this low to this high. This is also a rally. So should we not draw retracements of this move also? Let's say I color it red. The black one is a retracement of a bigger move. The red one is a retracement of a slightly smaller move. Then isn't this another move? यहाँ से गिरा था ना, फिर यहाँ से तो यहाँ से और एक move था. But if I draw retracement from this to this, 100% of it is over. Okay, let me draw and then I delete. So from this levels of 7500 to the current highs of 8300s, it's essentially broken down in three up moves. Ek, the biggest one. This, the blue one, is the smallest one, जो recent one था, and बीचों बीच the red one. Correct? Now if you noticed, the blue one is all over. Blue one starting point was this point, uske niche aa gaya. So the shortest retracement, it's completely taken away. So the blue one doesn't work. Under the red one, you see 38.2 ko cut kar chuka hai. So the 38.2 is irrelevant now. So what I do is I quickly redraw my retracement, removing 38.2. Now if you would have noticed, there is an amazing cluster. It's the black one and the red one. The black one is the 50% of the bigger trend. This is the bigger trend, the black one. Yeah. Let me hide the red one. You see this black one. 7937 is the level, 50% of the bigger move. Now let me get back the shorter retracement. Now comes the red one, 7937, and but 61.8 of the shorter move. So at 7937, there is a Fibonacci cluster, one on top of the other or one very close to the other. What is happening over here? More or less close to each other. This guy, sorry, yeah. So this guy is at 7829 and the other one, 61, is little higher. So this is close to each other, these two. This is bang on top of each other. And these are little distant. This is standing alone. इसमें कोई cluster नहीं है. Actually, this is standing at the 100% of this one. This guy is standing close to the 100% of the red one. So, by using Fibonacci retracement, we can say that the immediate support for the market is close to that 8,000 mark. Correct? The psychological level, the previous high देखिए आप 8,000 में ही था. So the obvious support, short-term support, is at 8,000. But it's an okay psychological support. But if it breaks, 7937 has an amazing cluster. So 7937 मतलब 7950, 79. ऐसा नहीं है कि market will go exactly to 7937 and from there it will bounce back. It's not going to happen. It's in that zone, in that area, 7930, 7940, right? The 793040 का जो zone है, वहाँ पे एक बहुत अच्छा Fibonacci cluster. There's an amazing cluster there. So this is my strongest support. After that, there is a kind of cluster, not a very good cluster. Levels are close to each other, which is close to 7829 and 7850. These are my supports. So this is the strongest, this is the next, and this is the immediate one, the short term one. Now when the market comes down and creates a buying possibility, that buying possibility creation can be in the form of a candlestick pattern, a Heiken-Ashi pattern, MACD crossover, anything. We are not getting into कि buy or buy trade कैसे आएगा, but जब at the juncture where the buy possibility, if it comes and if it's at the Fibonacci level, that too at a cluster, then it's a sure shot good high possibility trade. That's how we use Fibonacci retracements. Now this example in the current market scenario we have done to calculate support. Let's see if we can do this through the opposite way to calculate resistance. Let's do this in this chart only in Nifty, and we see that the market essentially, this rally is essentially a move which is opposite to this fall. So this move is, we can draw retracement of this fall, correct? So let's say we go back to our numbers. We come to this highest point. We straight drop down to the lowest point over here, and we drop possible retracements. Now you see 23 is gone, 38 is gone, 50 is gone, 61.8 पे यहाँ पे एक दिन रुका था, right? It held here, then it's taken that out. So let me redraw them so that it looks good. So what I can do is I can take out 23, take out 38, take out 50 and draw this. I have purposely kept 61.8 because it held for one day, then it's taken it out, then it's coming down. Now you will notice that this entire fall has another fall in it. So it fell, it bounced back and it fell again. So I have this one and this one. So they all are very close to each other. So for your knowing purpose, for your experimental purpose, if I draw from this high to this low, will it give me significantly different numbers? So let's say you draw this. And if I draw from this high to this low, will it give me significantly different numbers? Okay, wait. Just give me 1 second. Let me redraw 20 with a different color so that I can explain what I'm getting into. These were the three highs from where the market corrected down to this point, and then it was going up. At this juncture of the red, that is the biggest one, it actually came down for a couple of days, then it took it out effortlessly. So for the longer time frame, I will hope that the 78.6 can be valid, because the longer time frame in the red one, market did respect 61.8, so it can probably respect 78.6 also. But hold on 1 minute, I see that in this entire move, the biggest sharpest correction has been the recent one. ये 5 दिन का जो correction है, this has been the biggest correction so far, and this correction has happened from this blue line, which is 78.6. So if I have to declutter my chart, what will I do? I will keep 78.6 of this one, because the market has corrected from this level. The pink one has not acted of any source before, not of any importance, so I let go of it. And this one I keep the 78.6. I can remove this. So if I redraw it, I can only keep now the biggest 78.6, and that's it. So the market levels on the upside is close to 73.18, that is 73.20, 73.30. Obviously, एक चीज आप देखो, this was the lows. See this low, bounce back, lows, bounce back, lows, bounce back. So what are these? Supports or resistances? Supports. The support got breached. What will the support now do? Resistances. So what are the levels? 73.8, 83.30, 83.20, right? And this 83.20, 83.30 is right at 78.6 retracement, correct? So if you have to draw, if I draw something like this, the two green lines, this zone was my earlier support zone, so I will expect resistance in that zone. But hang on, in this resistance zone there is a 78.6 also Fibonacci, so this zone is likely to be a strong resistance, and see what happens after a strong resistance. So there are clusters. So at a level, what you're trying to analyze, decipher from the market, if some other tool is also telling you the same thing, your call becomes better. So if you say, now if I say 84.16 and 84.20 is a very strong resistance, what is the basis of it? It is just a standalone Fibonacci. इसमें कोई cluster नहीं है, इसमें कोई previous support resistance कुछ नहीं है. So obviously this is not that strong. This range is really strong, and it's showing its colors now. So this is how you will use Fibonacci to calculate retracements to calculate both support and resistance. You have to, by now you would have got a hang of it, that you have to draw and redraw them. जब जब जो level निकल जाता है, you have to take it out. In this software, there are other softwares where you can just delete one particular line. It depends on software to software. But with this software, which is Iris Plus from Spider Software that we are using, you have to redraw the retracements to keep your chart clean. Rather than keeping all the lines, see, now this is how my chart looks. So this is retracement, which will help you to find out support and resistance, keeping in mind that there is already a previous move जिसको वो retrace कर रहा है. There has to be, to draw retracement, there has to be an earlier move, right, जिसको वो retrace कर रहा है. Now what about targets? Now for targets, we will use extensions and projections. Retracement, now projection and extension. So let me tell you what are projections and extensions using Fibonacci. Now, you remember we got two sets of ratios. One set of ratio was for, which was less than 1, right? That was a contraction. The other one was greater than 1, where it was an expansion number. It was greater than 1. So मतलब एक छोड़ के चला गया है. मतलब now I'm trying to find out कि बाहर निकल के कहाँ target हो सकते हैं. Where can be the targets, right? So what are the ratios that we got? Let's quickly go back. We got 1.618, we got 2.618, we got 4.236, and when we took the square root of 1.618, we got 1.272, right? So the projection, target निकालने के लिए the percentages are 1.618%, 2.618 times, or let's say 1.618, 2.618, 4.236 and 1.272. Means, let's say the market starts a move from A to B, comes down to C, and now you're trying to calculate कि D कहाँ हो सकता है. Till what point is the possible my D target, right? So what do? You take, you first calculate, okay, what is the distance of B minus A? How much is B minus A? This is important, right? This is the distance. Now this distance, you multiply it with 1.618, and this whole thing you add from A. This will give you this one, 1.618. So from A, from this point, that is, if I find out the difference, previous move कितना हुआ था, उस movement का, of that movement, if I multiply it with 1.272, I will get this point, 2.618 and 4.236. Let's see how to do this. We are back to the Nifty chart. I have a lowest point, that is my A. I have a little rally of B, and then the market has gone above B. The targets will only come, try and understand one very simple concept. These levels is only possible जब market B के ऊपर जाएगा ना. जब तक B के नीचे है, where is the expansion? B मतलब तो it's within 1. It has to go beyond B to create that 1.2, 1.6, right? So let's say if you're at this stage, the market has made an A to B and come off and is about to go up, we can find out the targets. We can easily calculate the targets. Okay, but those targets will only be applicable जब इस level के ऊपर जाएगा. So let's do it. We come to retracements, the same tool, retracements, same tool. We put 127.2, that is 1.272. Now this is 100 er upore 100%. So 127.2, 138.2, 161, sorry, 161.8, 261.8, 423.6. Right? Okay. So this is my B point, and I have to go down to my A point. So these are my targets. What targets? ये जो movement है ना, try and I'll break it down in easy language. This move started from 75.50 and it lasted till 8057. So this was the start point, this was the end point, and now it is correcting a bit. And if it starts to rally again, if it goes above this high, then अगर ये जो rally था ना, ये जो move था, मतलब 8050 से 7550, ठीक है? So we're looking at what, a 400-point rally, 500-point rally. This 500-point rally, if it extends, projects itself further up, then where are the levels? If it extends itself by 1.27, then it can go to 81.90. If it projects to 161, 1.61 times, ये 500 पॉइंट का अगर 1.61 टाइम्स में लेता हूं, then वो 8373 तक जाएगा, and so on. Now let's see what happened. Now we have drawn this, but these are not applicable as of now. These targets will only be applicable जब ये इस लेवल के ऊपर जाएगा. So comes close to 127, does some time pass for 3 days, takes it out, and comes down. So as of now, one target is met, the others are still pending. So, and when will this move, when will this possibility dissolve? जब फिर से इसके अंदर घुस जाएगा ना, see, when it goes within this, the possibility of these targets will slowly dissipate. Can we find targets? We found targets on the upside. Can we find targets on the downside? This was a fall. It's a counter rise, and now it starts to fall again. Can I quickly calculate possible targets on the downside? See, now I'm extending on the downside from low to high. So I've got some targets on my downside. These are my targets. So when the market was coming down, I can say that, okay, ये जो fall था, if this extends further down, then these are the levels where the market can come. See this big 24th, so this was 21st Friday. Then the Monday opened with a big gap down. It went straight away to the 261.8, straight. Hovered around there. And you know the history, now it's gone up. So when this level was broken, let's go back a bit, back, let's say here. So this level, when this low is breached, once these lows are breached, these levels open up. I have not put for 423.6. It will go way below. So when this low breaches, if someone asks you what are the possible downside targets, then these levels open up. No one would have thought कि एक दिन में ये होने वाला है. But see, exactly that date it came close to. So it just gives you a possible level on the downside. It can come in like this case, just in one day, or it can take some time. But this was your target. If you were short by any of these patterns or anything, that this low is broken, then these are the targets that open up. So over here, it hovers around, and then it actually goes below that, and then it rises. So extensions, projections can be used to calculate targets on the upside as well as the downside. Now projection and extension are not the same thing. What we did right now is projection. It was 2 point. Now try and understand. What we drew over here, target on the upside, क्या किया था हम लोग ने? We came to this point B and came down to point A. ऊपर का target मिला. Now upside down, this was our point B. Let's say this was our point B, and I pull it up. Correct? So these are what I'm calculating with just these 2 points, this and this. It's a 2-point calculation, which you can call projection. Few softwares calls it extension, doesn't matter. Keep in mind 2-point tool, and the other is a 3-point rule. What is a 3-point rule? Let me show you. The 3-point rule says you look for an earlier rally, then it will have a succeeding fall. You have to earlier क्या कर रहे थे, हम इसको इग्नोर कर रहे थे, हम सिर्फ इसको और इसको कैलकुलेट कर रहे थे और यहां से ऐड कर रहे थे. करेक्ट? We found out B minus A and we added from this point. This fall played no role. Now comes extension E. Now comes extension that we will get in this software by hitting E. In this case, you use 61.8, 100, which is twice of 50%, 161.8, 200 to 61.8. Now see this. You come to the lowest point. So I am considering A to B. Now B to C. Now if the market rallies, where all it can go. So it gives me levels on the upside. Let's do it on the downside. The earlier one. I hit. So let's say this is my A, B, C. The levels on the downside. So I hit E. I have my levels. Go to the high. Come down to the low. And go to the high. And I have my levels on the downside. This is 261.8 of an 3-point. This is a 3-point. Let me quickly do a 2-point. This is a 2-point. The red one is a 2-point. The black one is a 3-point. You see the black and the 3, these are the two where they more or less close to each other. So this is not a very good cluster, but it is more or less a zone of Fibonacci levels. So अगर ये 23, अगर 8300 टूटता है, the worst case scenario can be 7750. So it went close to 7550. This was the target on the downside as per Fibonacci. These are the tools that you can use. Retracement for support resistance and extension projection for upside targets and downside targets. This is very esoteric in nature. This is more of a little subjective. How will you get a hang of it? By practicing. Try to, when you start with Fibonacci practice, try to do it in the weekly scales and the monthly scales. Don't do it in the intraday. कोई सवाल ही नहीं है. If you are into trading and intraday trading and short-term trading, don't get into Fibonacci. I will suggest not to get into Fibonacci. But if you are into analysis and if you want to look into slightly long-term views, कि हाँ 1 month, 3 month, 1 year kind of, then these tools will be of very good help. And the more you use, you'll tend to see that they're quite magical at times. Fairly magical at times. उसी level से market घूम जाता है. The only way you'll get a hang of it is to practice it. And you will clutter your charts, you will declutter your charts, but by doing a little bit practice will you get a hang of Fib. But this is more or less. What's the other side of Fib? The other side of Fib is using Fib to calculate time. कि कहाँ market घूम सकता है? Where can the market turn in terms of time? There are ways to do it, but I have figured out that sticking to price is a much better option than time, number one. And to do Fibonacci time analysis, these kind of softwares are not going to suffice, right? So for Fibonacci, the best would be to first stick to price, practice it. Once I get a good hang of acha, okay, this is 61.8, this is the cluster, this is etc., then only should you go to Fibonacci time. Or else what will happen is these things tend to backfire so much. See, these are possibilities, right? But जब आप खींचते हो, when you draw those levels, उस possibility के साथ आप आपका expectation जोड़ देते हो. So you think वहां तक जाएगा ही जाएगा. And these are all possibilities. They go wrong majority of the time. They will not hold. So when you see them going or when you see them not doing what you anticipate from it, you will start to disrespect and distrust and you will try to leave it. But all you know, if you just approach the fib thing like a possibility, it's giving me a possibility. And once you, okay, हाँ ठीक है, it's not that a bad tool, market में काम करता है, okay, then only should you go to time. वरना एक साथ if you start using 6 tools and 6 tools are backfiring 60% of the time, you will just chuck it out. So less is more. Start with Fibonacci price, stick to retracements, projections and extensions, and preferably on the weekly charts to start off with and then on the daily. Don't get into intraday Fibonacci, right? Okay, what was that? Just hang on 1 minute. Okay, Sanjay says let's do on the weekly charts. So let's say this is the weekly chart of Nifty. Okay, and we see that the market big rally started from this point, this to this. So this is the biggest retracement. Right? So did I do something wrong? Yes. Yeah, wait a sec. $23.6. So if I come down to this lowest point and go to the high, 23.6 is gone. So can I quickly remove 23.6 and so this is my big retracement. So this I'm trying to say something, try and understand what I'm saying. ये जो fall है market का 9,000 से 7,500 तक का जो fall है, this fall is eyeing, is attempting, is retracing which up move, the bigger one or this one? I don't know. मतलब when it's falling, it is trying to retrace 100% of some move. Previous में कुछ एक move हुआ है, उसको पूरा खा जाना चाहता है, लेकिन वो पूरा कौन सा टाइम फ्रेम को खा जाना चाहता है? क्या ये वापस यहाँ आना चाह रहा है या वापस यहाँ आना चाह रहा है? How do I know? Actually, we don't know. So drawing these retracements in different time frames. So this is the biggest one. If you draw between this and this, more or less आसपास ही है. If I draw and show you, levels will be very close to each other. The levels are very close to each other. The next the low was this one. So if I draw from this low and take it to this high and I leave it, see 38.2. This recent move comes to 38.2. Now let me just try to confuse you a bit. You shouldn't be confused. This we are doing in the weekly chart and we find 75-90 के आसपास support from the weekly chart from 38.2 and daily chart पे 75-80 78 75-80 में extension था नीचे के तरफ. So from weekly charts we are getting a support, from daily charts we are getting a target, and both of them are more or less same levels. So one time frame and the other time frames are confluencing at the same level. That's a very strong level, and that's where exactly आसपास वहीं से the market has bounced back. Now between the bigger one and the red one has definitely proved itself. So between the red and the gray one, we will pay now more respect to the red one. There is no cluster whatsoever. There has been 9 zigzags. So the market has fallen. So अगर ये लो टूट जाता है, अगर ये लो टूट जाता है, then the market can fall further down. Can I so the extensions we use is 138.2, 161.8, 261.8. So let's say if the market is correcting in this order, then these are my targets on the downside. So A, B, correcting down. Can I quickly draw a 3-point? Let's say A, B, C. Now you see, red, that is a retracement. Blue is a 3-point. क्या level था? 7546. Market का low क्या था? 7539. And black. So black is a 2-point target. Blue is a 3-point extension target. Red is a 2-point retracement support. More or less coming close to 75 and 75, 76. तो 75, 76 के जोन में बहुत सपोर्ट है. तो now you've got to move. ये अगर टूट जाता है, then I start looking for what? Clusters. I have a cluster here around 68, 69. I have standalone retracement. These are all standalone retracements. When you come to this red, standalone red, between acha, let me quickly tell you this. Now this is clear. If we draw different tools, I will get multiple lines. What I'm looking for is multiple lines clustering close to each other. They may cluster, they may not cluster. When they cluster, it's stronger. What if they don't cluster? Let's say this gray line, this black line, and this red line. How do I know? How do I rank between these three? किसको देखना है, किसको नहीं देखना है, या किसको priority में रखना है, किसको priority में नहीं रखना है? All that you do is you click on it and past history में देखिए, has it acted as a good support or resistance before? So I come to this gray line. I check on the left hand side. यहाँ पे कहीं पे कुछ lows highs है? नहीं है. I come to the black line. I go back here. है? नहीं है. Wait a sec. I come to the red line. See? Right here, there's a bounce and the market went. So between these three, इसका chance ज़्यादा है. The red one. And the red retracement has already proved itself before. So 38 के बाद अगर ये low टूटता है, then the level to watch for would be close to that 71.20, 72. This is using the weekly charts.
So it's basically like we are doing a study on weekly chart and we can see its level on a daily basis also.
Yeah.
That will, but
correct. When you have done your, you can do it on daily also. The only reason I'm saying, I'm asking not to start with the daily is because daily highs and lows are more often than weekly highs and lows. So the more often they are, the more lines you will draw. The more lines you will draw, the more wrong it has chance to go. So I don't want you to lose hope immediately. Take it slow. It's all that. The reason I'm asking you to do it in weekly is asking you indirectly, take it slow. You can do it in 60 minutes also. You can do it in 5-minute charts also. Nothing stops you. मैंने इसीलिए वीकली में बोला कि वीकली में करोगे तो कम ड्रॉ करोगे, कम रीड्रॉ करोगे, धीरे धीरे उनको बनते हुए टूटते हुए देखोगे. So it will sink in with you slowly. If you do it daily, it's fine. It's completely okay. मतलब eventually you come down to daily only. Eventually you will draw daily and weekly both and find out daily में भी ये level बोल रहा है और weekly में भी वही level बोल रहा है. That is like a mother of a level जो कि ये slow में मिला था. So once you get a hang of it, you have to do it in both the time frames. In fact, once you get a hang of it, these things should be drawn in all time frames. All the time frames that you are trading. सोचो आप डेली से डिसाइड कर रहे हो एंड आवरली में एग्जीक्यूट कर रहे हो. इट शुड बी देयर इन बोथ. इफ यू आर डूइंग द वीकली एंड ट्रेडिंग द डेली, इट शुड बी देयर इन बोथ. बट दीज थिंग्स क्लटर द चार्ट. एज यू कैन सी, दीज लाइन्स क्लटर द चार्ट. आपका प्राइस से ध्यान हट जाता है. बाय डूइंग ऑल दीज थिंग्स, you are slowly, surely stepping away from the candles, stepping away from the bars, stepping away from the actual price. The price is the key, the most important thing. ठीक है? So that's Fib practice. The only way it can be dealt with is just as much practice.
So for extension, we have to draw the 2 points and 3 points both and then compare.
So rather than naming projections extension, why I am telling you this, when you use Spider software, the extension is 3-point ABC. They don't have any tool called projection. That retracement से projection होता है. The moment you use a software like Metastock, over there you will not find extension. You will find projection, which is 3-point. So rather than doing extension projection, अच्छा extend कर रहा है, project कर रहा है, मतलब greater than 1. Expansion. So while expanding, there are two tools. In one tool, there is 2-point, that is A and B. and in one tool there is A, B, C. बस अभी उसको projection बुलाना है, extension बुलाना है. If you understand the concept.
Which one works better? Or
The 2-point for me, my experience says works better. The 2-point, which is there in front of you right now. This is on bank index. Sometime back in the past, I had drawn. It works. When it works like to the T, beautifully. Right at that level, close to that level, it will find. My preference would be 2-point. I generally stick to 2-point. See, retracement is 2-point, and I stick to 2-point for the expansion also. That is my preference. You might find others जो कि 2-point use ही नहीं करता है. Probably expansion के लिए सिर्फ 3-point use करता है. But my preference is the 2-pointers. I generally do not clutter my chart so much.